My stream is starting now. All right. Now, let's see where we were. So, for those of you who caught yesterday's episode of me talking to myself, and sometimes to you, I was working on the magic stuff. So let me, as always, just start by pressing play, and we'll see where we are. Make sure nothing broke. I don't think I left off with any broken things last night. Although I did notice one thing. The frame rate sucks, but then I go into turn-based and the frame rate's much better. So, at some point, I'm going to have to do some debugging because when I turn it off again, the frame rate sucks again. So clearly, some part of my script is messing with it. So that's a to-do item. But, you know, I do have sounds, turn-based sounds. I added a audio clips object that just, it's got one of my dictionaries on it that just called clips. And essentially, each audio clip is going to have a string with the clip. I could make a nice UI about this, you know, editor extension to make it prettier, but for this one it's just a list. So I used the dictionary. I could have made a list that was just sounds, but I was thinking there could be a use case in the future for more things. Either way, it's very easy to call sounds now, like this one. Whoops. And then let's see. I got, if I hold down Control, I can move the mouse with locking the pan. So if you want to click buttons, you can always hold down Control. If you want to look at something without going to by locking the camera, you can do that. And then we have our inventory. So we have the sounds for that as well. We have.
This will come in handy.
Our ability to.
This will come in handy. This will come in
spells,
handy.
And of course, if somebody can't learn it,
I can't learn this spell.
I can't learn this
I can't learn this spell.
they've got the same voice, those two.
This will come in handy. This will come in handy.
Then I rearranged this panel a little bit. So now the buttons are up here, and if I actually go, if we go into this right here and just duplicate this, there will be up to 12 spells per book, and so you can imagine maybe this background will be like a book, something like that. And then the details will be right here. I'm going to delete those now. So the first spell will be the top left, essentially. And then only one of them has a description, Healing Touch Novice. But it's got the information, and this will be more fleshed out, you know, in time with flavor text and whatnot. But it'll give you the general cost and then what it does. And that is attached to the spells. So this is my items, all my different items. So we were talking about this in the stream just now with Jason and Jason about how I do my spells. And so this is one of them where Healing Touch Novice has all this different stuff, and you know, Healing Touch Expert will be very similar but slightly different details. And so that's how I populate that. So that's that. And things are now, the first spell is auto-selected. So if you don't have a selected spell, the first one of that type will be selected. That is what makes this work. They all have the same icon, which is why they're not changing there. I do need to make these turn grayscale when they're not selected. And then, oh yeah, if you've got, this comes up if you haven't learned. I need to remove that one in the background there. And then if you had now all of these have something learned, but if you didn't have something learned, it would tell you just don't have any magic spells for this type. So where I left off was essentially being able to, this is already selected, so clicking it, there we go, and then you see the book icon. So now I'm at a pause level where I can't move, I can't pan. The game time is not progressing. If there were enemies, they wouldn't be moving. You'd see them moving in their idle state, but they wouldn't be coming towards you. It's essentially all I can really do, well, actually, I might need to, yeah, I need to fix that because that shouldn't happen. So let's go. So that's something to fix, is that these should probably disappear while this option is here or something, or just not get clicked. And the idea is now I can click around, I can hit escape to come out of it, and that cancels the spell cast, or I can click on a person. And that's what this is. Figure out what to do with the spell on deck. And that's where we are now. So, what are we going to do with the spell on deck? Obviously, this one's going to heal a character. But I did not yet figure out exactly how I want to handle stuff like that. Yeah, so this is called with, let's just do it again, select player 2. Yeah, so we're selecting player 2. It's going through these. Essentially, it's just going to check various things. We know we've selected player 2. We've basically clicked that button. It's just a UI button, I think. And if our new player is greater than the actual player count, for whatever reason, we're just going to do nothing because for some reason that player got clicked, but they're not actually here. So this just check to make sure we don't have an issue. And then we're going to go through these potential outcomes. Cast the spell on deck on player. If we can do that, then we're going to just get out of this menu and just don't do anything. But if this returns false, then we'll try the next thing. Can we give a held object to player? If that's false. If the player is selected, open the menu. If that's false, then we will do the rest down here, which is essentially select the player. And this, I could probably move this to its own method as well. But let's check out the cast spell on deck method. And actually, what's it passing in here? It's passing the new player. So this new player is the player selected. This is my actions script, by the way. It's on this object here. It's a static. I guess that would be a singleton, I suppose. I'm never quite sure, so I want to say it out loud just in case I'm wrong. But it's basically all the actions that you might do, clicking on the screen and stuff, will go through this script technically. That's the idea, at least. And so I'm passing whoever I clicked on into this. And so if there's no spell on deck, then I'm returning false. That's what the first thing it does. But now there is a spell on deck, so it's returning true. But now I need to figure out what to do with it. So I guess the first thing is to figure out, can I cast this on this player? So can this spell on deck be cast on a player? Fireball can't, for instance, because that would be silly to cast Fireball on a portrait, because I don't know where the particle would go. So we can't cast Fireball, but we can cast Healing, and so we can also cast Healing on NPCs in the games. Like if there's an NPC on the ground that's clearly hurt, maybe we can cast Healing on that to help them out. Maybe that's how you solve a quest or two, by healing people and not killing them. Stuff like that. So we need the ability to know, can it be cast on the player? And so to do that, we're going to go back to, down here, to my spells. And I'm just going to add another dictionary option. And it's going to be, let's see. I'm just looking to see if I have a naming convention. I don't. So, instant is one that matters, but none of these spells are instant right now. So we're going to say can cast on party or on player. Player is a single and then there's going to be casts on party. Yeah, and both of these are not going to be, we're going to ignore the prefix and suffix, and this is going to be a Boolean, so I'm going to turn that on for both of them. And now when we go back to our list, we'll notice that these options are down here. So Healing Touch is cast on party. We'll just turn that on. Oh, no, cast on player, not the whole party. We'll have to do a difference between the two. Because if it does cast on party and you click, it doesn't matter which player you click, it's going to affect the whole party. But if you cast on player, then it affects just the one player. So these are going to be together. So if it casts on party, then it has to be can cast on player. True. They both have to be true. So the expert will be cast on player, and I'm just going to set these all up for these 4 and ignore the other ones for now. Okay, so back to the code. We're going to say, so if we can't cast it, so we need to get the spell first. So this is going to be looking up this value here, and I'm doing that elsewhere. Where did I do that? Probably UI spell. Spell equals magic spell. Nope, that's old. See, I've got zombie code. So that's an issue, right? Zombie code. That's all old. I want to copy paste, so I'm looking. Oh well, that's fine. I'll rewrite it. Alright, so the spell is going to be an item. Spell equals game.spells.get item. And we're going to pass in the spell on deck. It's a string. What do I need? What do I need to pass in? String name, spell on deck. Oh, that's the weather. That's a boolean. So where do I store the actual spell that's on deck? Oh, that's right. It's somewhere else. It's stored on the player. Let's see. So active player dot spell, not no active player. Game dot active player dot spell. Last spell selected. So whenever the player's last spell selected, it will be their spell on deck. So if there's a spell on deck, I mean, it's always whoever is the active player is the only one who can choose a spell. Therefore, their last selected spell is going to be the spell on deck. Now, I might need to update this for quick spell if there's a quick spell option, quick cast or whatnot. So let me think about that real quick. How would that work if there's a quick one? Then it wouldn't be. I guess it would be if I do a quick one, when the button is pressed to do a quick cast, I would put spell on deck and also put the last spell selected to that quick one at the same time. Then this would still work. So this will be fine. So spell equals that. And then we need to know if the spell can be cast on the player. So if spell dot dictionary dot get value bool and can cast on player. So if it can't cast on player, then we'll return false. Otherwise, we're going to return true. Take away that debug log. All right, so cast this on the player. So save that. And actually, debug.log cast this on player. Okay, I'm just going to test it. While I talk through the next step is what a spell does is going to be different. In In this case, this is a healing spell, and it's going to heal hit points. In other cases, it will give a a condition. I don't know what I'm talking about. So let's just make sure that debug log pops up as expected, and then we'll go from there. So this is, you haven't learned any yet.
This will come in handy. This will come in handy.
Healing touch. And clear this out. Ah, a bug. No spell. All right, well, let's figure out why. Make sure this is oh, I wonder. No, it's still the active player. So let's see. Let's go to our. Just gonna restart it just to make sure. Make sure that spell is actually being set properly. All right, so in our data player, we're going to look at player number 2, which is the third player. And last spell selected should be right there. So let's see. So we should
This
see
will come in handy.
things popping up in
This will come in
here as we
handy.
go to the magic menu. So healing touch, feeble mind, and that tells you of each school which one is selected. These just happen to be the first two. It's not that they're coming up here. If it was a different school, it might be down here or something. It's the same order as another array. And then this is the issue here. Last spell selected isn't being selected when we auto select it. So this check active is called once it's when we reload the magic panel, we're going to check active, and that basically says if there is no spell name here, then we're going to choose the first one if there is one available. Something like that. And then, so we'll say last spell. So it's actually, it can be game.activePlayer.last spell selected equals spell name. That should do the trick. Let's find out. What's up, Akira? All right, try again.
This will come in handy.
And
This will come in
let's check
handy.
out our character here. Oh, too far. Too far, too far. All right, so these should get populated. There we go. So healing touch, feeble mind, healing touch, feeble mind. Okay. I'll have to double check this once we have multiple spells per type, but that is working now where the one selected is showing up. So now if we do that and try to cast it, oops, let me clear that out. What happened? Was that not actually the bug? So we solved the bug, but it wasn't the bug. Oh, I know why, because I need to add in the proficiency. So right here. So this one was hard-coded, try to learn spell, but I need to get the proficiency. So where was spellbook mastery? That's right. So this is the code that I was looking to copy earlier. But spellbook mastery is what I'm looking for, and we need to add that here. So spellbook mastery is going to be game.activePlayer gets dire skill. Oh shoot, interesting. So I guess I need to also save last magic panel active. There's two ways of doing this. So I could return just novice here, and then get this value, which is the name of the class that the spell, or the type of magic the spell is part of, in order to check their mastery, the player mastery. Or I could just keep track like I do with the last spell selected. And I think I'm going to do that. So last spell, what I'm calling it, book, magic book selected. And it's just going to be a string of the skill, basically, like fire magic or whatnot. So let's put that up on... It's actually part of the player class. So where's my player class? It's going to be game.activePlayer.that. Last spell learned selected is going to be public string. I'm making it public and not hidden. All right, and then in our magic menu, where we set last spell, UI spell, last spell. Well, let's find out actually. I probably have a debug log where I show myself the point at which the spellbook is selected, and that's where I want to save the value. I don't know why it's re-importing some prefabs. That makes no sense. All right. I don't know. There we go. Let's restart it. Magic menu, loading spells from body magic. So this is probably the place to go. Yeah, so that's the spot right here. Some active magic panel, and we'll just add to this active player dot last spellbook selected equals active magic panel. The reason why active player here is active player and not game.activePlayer, that's a good question. I don't know exactly why. It could just be game.activePlayer. I must have passed this in at some set active player. Player selected equals game.generalActivePlayer. Active player. Yeah, I think it's probably better if I just not have active player here. Right? Because everywhere else I'm saying game.activePlayer, and it'd be confusing to not have it be that way in this script, I would think. The whole point of having game and active player so easily accessible was for this purpose. There could still be an error somewhere. But, oh yeah, and then I think, this. All right. Feel like I'm to player selected. Active player is here. I can change that as well. Just clean that up. So it'd be public int. All right, and then magic menu, I don't need to set active player at all. And oh, check that, undo all of that, and the reason why is this panel reloads when the active player changes. So it caches, oops, I went to go back too far. I went back too far. Whoops, now I zoomed out. All right. Yep. So this caches active player, and it checks it against the actual active player. And if it changes, if there's a difference, then it will update the menu. So I almost screwed myself over big time right there. Glad I realized that. Otherwise, who knows what would have happened. But technically now we should be saving that value. And then in the other script, we should be able to call that value. Let me just look at that code after I press stop here. All right, that was in actions. Last spell selected, last magic book selected. Okay, so we got spellbook mastery. And the spell is actually going to be that plus the spellbook mastery. All right, that should do the trick. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. Liking the thumbs up, smashing that, as the YouTubers say, helps YouTube know that this video is cool and that people are enjoying it. And of course, subscribing is always helpful to help me grow my channel. And so you can be notified for whenever we have cool new stuff. And from time to time, we have cool new stuff. Did this not play? All right. Oops, inventory on this one.
This will come in
Select this
handy.
Up again.
This will come in handy.
Okay, here's the test once more. All right, cast on this player. Good. All right. So now the next thing is to figure out how am I doing the casts, conditions, not conditions, etc. And I think I can take a look back into these buttons and see what I was thinking with them. Oops. Where are they? All right. All right, they're just randomly here. So this was I was working on a while back, test cast spell. It was a test script, and it was there just to cast. We got the spell name, mastery, skill points and level. That's from the player, and then with that information, all these methods would do stuff. So let's just look through real quick. So this one will cast the spell as the placeholder. The conditions aren't always on the spell, and sometimes it will only be past the actor if a projectile or something else hits them. Really, this is more like a give condition, all right? Because what we're saying is spell data is get the spell. We just did that in our other thing, so we already have this. And then if has condition of greater value, add the condition. So what do we mean by condition? Conditions are another item. And it's an item that a player can obtain. They can't necessarily get rid of it without a potion or something, or the time running out. But when we look at the items list, we have a list of conditions here. So there's buffs, debuffs over time, maybe a lot more different types. But heroism, for instance, has an effect. It has, well, wait, did I not set that? I thought I set the values, but maybe I didn't. But it will have values, and it will have, different things. Did I set any of these? Maybe I didn't set any of these. I guess I didn't set any of these before. Didn't get to that point. All right. So they'll have different values. For instance, heroism might be might. Increase it by 3, or instead of that, it might increase your might by 3 per skill point of the caster, stuff like that. And this uses the stats and skills system, working with the items module, stats and skills and items modules. So essentially, this is giving a condition that will have a time limit, start time, end time. Let's see, how did we handle that in the script? So this is the add condition, and so we get the condition name. That's part of the spell data. It's on the spell data saying, hey, there's a condition. Is null or empty? Return. So if this is basically, it has condition, we might want to turn this into a Boolean and return false, and then true if we did have a condition and we're able to add a condition, but we'll see. So then we grab the condition from this items list, and then we clone the data because we don't want to add a reference to this. We want to clone it. So the player condition, and then we set the duration, set the values, set other information, set period information. That's for like poison if it happens every 3 seconds or something like that. And then we finally add that to the player. So these values might be affected by the spellcaster. Like a stronger spellcaster might have a lengthier end time, so it will last longer, something like that. So let's see how we were doing that. Set duration. So we're getting our game time counter. This is a double, so we're converted to float. So that's our start time. That's basically now. And then, it's funny, I could probably add that to game time, huh? A now. That would be handy. Getting sidetracked, I know. Test spell. But this is basically now. So, game time, game time, game time, game time. Game time. Get game time. Is that the same thing? No. It's not. It might be similar though. Let's see. How did I do this? Time counter. So public float now equals time counter. Can I not do that? Oh. There you go. So if that does the trick, then this can just be start time equals all that now. Game time now. Ah, that's a little more reasonable. And then end time is going to be start time plus spell dictionary get value float duration. So this is going to be on the spell itself. And then there's duration per skill point. So now if we go back to our spells, we should see that there. This is just me reminding myself what I was doing a few weeks ago. All right, so for instance, com will have duration and a duration per skill point. So maybe it'll be like, all right, this is going to last 60 seconds or minutes or whatever that is, plus 3 per skill point. So the more skill points you have, the longer it will last. And then maybe Grandmaster would be like 180 and 8 per skill point, something like that. I'm going to set this to 0 for now, though, because I have no idea what that will be. And then what else do we do? Then we set the end time by the flat point, then by the skill points, and then we set those values to the dictionary that we passed in, which is the dictionary of the new player condition, this clone. We set the values. So in this case, we're passing the spell data and the player condition, and for each of the star skills, we're adding those to the values on the condition, a clone of them, not the actual object itself. Okay, I think that makes sense. Set other information. So just whether it's a spell, what the spell name is, what the caster's skill point was, the caster's level, the caster mastery. Basically, this way the condition itself doesn't care who cast it. All it cares about now is the details of the caster, and that's going to be saved with the condition object that's now stored in the conditions inventory, essentially, of the player. And then set period information. This is just saying the period. If there is no period, i.e. it's just a one-time thing, and it just is on or off, then it's that. So that's fine. That's good. The question then is, do I use the conditions system to add hit points? Or do I write a different system for that? Because what I'm thinking here is essentially, if the duration is 0, then it will activate instantly and remove instantly. So let's see, what did I say? Healing touch does 3 hit points plus 1 per skill point. So if we look at hit points, and we're looking at base hit points, I believe. Yeah, because hit points max is the maximum hit points. That's not something we want to affect. We want to affect base hit points, and that's going to be 3. And then base hit points here. add per skill points, and then 1. We can ignore these proficiencies. So this technically could change if the proficiency of the caster is high, then they might get a little bit more than 3. If it's low, then it might be a little less than 3. Same with this. But there's nothing that we're going to modify. We're not modifying the base hit points proficiency at all. We're just doing the base value. And the way we store current hit points is we use the base value of this stat or skill, not the final value. So it's just a raw number, essentially. The points, I think. And we can see that. Let me just double check because I do want to check one thing. If we check our stat or skills, we go to hit points. Where is it? Stats. Close those. Base hit points. Yeah, so it's going to be points plus base value. So one of the things I'm thinking here is we use points for hit points. It's just the points, and other things will be points plus base value, then modified by the proficiency. 0 means perfectly for proficient. 1, essentially. This could be a positive or negative. But if I use the condition system, it's going to add the values here, not here, not to points. It'll add to base value, the 3 plus 1 per skill point will be added here, so this would be like 4. And if this base hit points is 1, then now it would still be 1 because the logic in the game is looking at points, it's not looking at base value. So I'm sure there's an easy way to get around this. So I'm thinking that could have a boolean here that says add to points. Let's try that, because I think what I can essentially do is healing could be a condition of being healed. It affects instantly. And then it goes away instantly. So you'd never actually see it in your conditions list because it would go away practically immediately. But it would still have the effect and would use the same system as it's just a condition, essentially. And really, any attack could also be a condition that removes hit points. So let me try that. Let's try that because I think that could be a good way of doing it. So we're going to say it's going to be add value or add base value to points, and keep uppercase as I've been doing that in other things, so all uppercase. And this is going to be only on the item itself, and it's a boolean. Alright, so now I'm going to add a one or instant. We'll call these instants, different type, and I'm just going to close all these and add a new one called healing. Okay. And so these will be populated by the script. So they're going to be leaving blank now. But I am going to say that this is going to add base value to points. Okay. And then in my code here, set values, let me see. Will this work? Maybe it won't. Let's see. So this is values base add. So this is on the player condition. So it's a copy of this object that we're going to stick onto. Oh shoot. So we actually don't need the Boolean add base value to points. Just the fact that the type is instant, we can then say try to do an instant action. So what I'm getting at is duration doesn't matter, other information doesn't matter, period doesn't matter. If it's instant, then it does something completely different. So what we're going to do here, and then we don't even need to add it. We can just, that's it. It's just we set it up, we call the condition, we do the math, and we're done. We don't need to add it at all, actually. I don't think. Let's just try that out. So if can't, so try instant action, and we're going to pass in spell data and player condition return. So if we can do an instant action, we're just going to return. We're not going to do anything else. So let's set that up. And the way we know it's going to be that, so if if player condition, player condition dot type equals instant, return false. So if it doesn't equal instant, if it doesn't equal instant, then we're going to return false, meaning it's not an instant spell, so do this other stuff. But if it is an instant spell, at the end we'll return true, and we will do the instant spell stuff here. So in this case, does this mean that every instant adds values to points? Let me think that through. So with this system, points is like the base value. Like if you have a might of 10, right? Your stat of might or speed, let's say you speed, your speed stat is 10, and you drink a potion that permanently increases it by 1, then your points should be 11. And to show that, I'm going to go back to the stats and skills, because this is a key feature of why, or how rather, the stats and skill module is set up for this purpose. So here we got our base stat of accuracy. It's got points, value, and proficiency. So the final stat will be points plus base value. Did I put a tooltip here? Yeah. Multiplied by the proficiency. So in this case, it would be 11 as the base, and then if you cast a buff that gives you more accuracy, that would go here. When the more accuracy is buff is removed, that would go back to 0, and you'd be stuck with 11. So anything that's instant would affect this. That way, if I drink a potion, like a permanent potion that's supposed to permanently give me 1 more accuracy, then I would add it to points, and I could call it as an instant condition. And I could set that up as a condition, and that would make it a lot easier. And then I wouldn't have to set up a separate system for that type of activity. And I could actually do my... anytime a player takes damage could be the same way. Because they'd essentially be taking points from the hit points. Paul on the chat says this is pretty cool and complex. Did you write the entire system? Yes, I did write it. I had a lot of help from people like you. Jason Story helped out a bunch here and there as well. A lot of the UI code he helped with, making it cleaner, making it neater, and a little easier for me to set up because it is fairly complex. But yeah, essentially, I needed a system like this for this game, and I realized that it is complex to do a system like this, but if I had a module that was flexible enough, flexibility means that it's more complicated in the sense like it's less clear what it does. You know, if something was very opinionated, then it would do this and that's it. And you would have to do your stats like this. You would have to do your stats like that. Or sometimes these are the stats you're going to use and you can't even rename them. And it's set up like this. I wanted it to be completely different where, you know, stats are things like, you know, all that, but also your hidden stats. So trap avoidance. Maybe the player doesn't even know what their trap avoidance is, but their trap avoidance is a combination of various metrics that I'm going to code in the logic of the game. So this system doesn't actually do any of the in-game logic. What it does is have a bunch of logic on computing final values and how values can affect each other, because you can add values that affect each other. And using the dictionary module, you can add other things. So like, for instance, our magic skills, like air magic, have the starring spell. And the spell is of magic missiles. Starring item is magic book, spell of magic missiles. So that's how we get those books into our inventory at the beginning, because when I select the skill, I know, oh, hey, does it have a starring item? Oh, it does. Magic book then. Does it have a spell? Oh, it does. So now it's a magic book of magic missiles. Whereas the shield will give you a small shield as your starting item. So that's how I do that. So yeah, it works pretty well. And I think I just found a new way to use it, using items on conditions to do instant things like taking and giving damage, or magic points. So that way, anything that's instant will have add base values to points be true, because an instant thing means it's not going to be added to your list, so you can't recompute it later. So it has to go to the base values. There's no other place to put it. Base values and base proficiency are going to be modular. Those are going to change over time based on what equipment you have, what conditions you have. It's going to be all computed automatically. But yeah, so this is not needed at all. So for that purpose, I'm going to delete it. So it's not a zombie. Add base value to points. Delete that. Okay. And we will say in the code that all instant stuff is instantly done to the base value. Okay. So now the condition for healing has... Did this not save? What's going on? Do I have a bug? There's a chance I have a bug. And that I'm about to get sidetracked. All right, because it seems we all saw that I added the stuff here, right? Everybody was paying attention, and everybody saw... Wait a minute. Wait just a minute. I don't see hit points here at all anymore. What bug did I find? It was base hit points, wasn't it? Let's just check this. Healing, instant, values base 0. Values per skill point 0. What if we manually put in 1? Nothing. Alright. Shoot. I hate this because there's always possibilities I've got bugs in my own modules. I don't like to think about that. But base hit points, base magic points can be modified. Alright, so these exist still. Why aren't they showing up in my conditions list? Technically, anything that can be modified should be in this list. I mean, just as a test. Well, it's right here. So how come it's not showing? It's showing up here. And this is the same system. It's the same item system, but not showing up here. This is a much shorter list. Test. Much shorter list. Delete test. Yes. Well, this is a conundrum because we saw it earlier. We don't see it now. We see it on the other list. We don't see it on this list. Do we see it on these lists? I don't think we did, right? Yeah. So this itself is just way too short. Why is that so short? Let's dig into the module. This is a sidetrack. Okay, mental note. Need to come back to healing in an instant. I like this idea of using this system to control all sorts of things. But in this case, instant spells that do things like healing or cause some damage. All right, so where is my modules? Affinity PBR. So the items module. Close out the rest. So this is going to be an editor script when we're looking at the items. So items editor probably. And can you tell I'm disappointed? Disappointed. I mean, it's great to fix a bug, but I prefer to not have the bug at all. So we need to see where this list is loading. Let's see, base values. Effects, base values, including points of proficiency. Okay, so that should be this section. Set int, values base, values index base, so accuracy, values index base. Pop up, get int, this. get modifiable list item. This is it. We're going to pass in our items, our item, and type base. Okay. So this list is going to create a new string of values. That's the drop down. For each stat and skill in items, RPG data, stat or skills. If it can be modified, FX values base and type equals base. This could be where it's going wrong, because we saw that it can be modified, but if the item affects values base SS name, so if it doesn't affect the base star skill name, okay, so it could be keeping it for that reason. This is like a circular logic. Hey, Fredo. So item is this item, I believe. Healing. Oh shoot, multiple places. Looks like there's two of those. This is in show value modifiables. This is show inventory prefix values. Inventory suffix values. Okay. So we are passing in items and items. What is this? So items and items. Show value modifiable. Show inventory items values. Show item details. Show item. Man, we're really going back here. All right, so show all items. And so in this case, items refers to all these items, or the object that holds all those items, and then each individual item is the individual item, and what is I is just the index of it. All right, and so if we are showing the item details, like this is toggled on, then we will show the item details and show the header, which is up here, I guess. And then get bool, show values, etc. That's these. And then if we are showing the values, then we go here. All right, check to ensure RPGA is populated. That's the link over to the stats and skills. And we have populated it with at some point. Where do we populate it? see. Oh yeah, that's a stupid bug that I can't figure out how to fix. All you have to do is save a script, and then Unity will... Oh no, Jason. We don't want to go too deep. I'm actually... Where do I assign the RPG data? I don't know. Okay. Let's not get sidetracked on a sidetrack. All right. Check RPG data. Okay. So we have RPG data because it keeps going. So now we're going to count modifiable. If there are only 0 modifiable, then we're not going to show anything. Hence that message. Show the modifiable. We no longer need index. I guess we never needed index. We just kept passing it along. Show modifiable ones, and then this is the get list. We're passing the conditions, items, and the healing as the item. And so we are then suggesting that type is values base or base values. Where do we use type here? Type equals base, so base. And it should just add the name of the status skill that can be modified to the list and return it here. And it's clearly not, so my best guess as to why it's not is because this is being hit. So we can do a test. Let's just change that to base 2. So now this should be empty. It might just show up as empty here. I don't know if we need to go actually back into Unity to do it. It's loading down here. Good, it's empty. Boom, okay. So save, fix that. Yeah. This rabbit hole, I hope, is like a Skyrim level, and when you get to the end, there's like a secret exit that just brought you back to the beginning. And you're like, oh, this was here all along. If only I had a way to get up there, I could have avoided all that trouble. All right, so my guess is this is running the issue. So that the item affects values base of the star skill, in this case, base hit points. And so this is going to go through and say, hey, for each star skill in values base, if the name matches the name, so let's see. So we're passing in the star skill name, item affects values base, and item is saying, so the item is now healing. This is the item. So if healing and we need this to be false to show up. So if for each star skill in values base, that's already listed here. If star skill name equals name, then true. In other words, this says if it's already selected, then don't show it in the drop-down list. I should put a note. I can put a note there about that. If the stat or skill is already selected, then don't show it in the drop-down list. I mean, I guess this could be used for more than just then it affects value, can't affect itself, essentially. If the get prefix is not null, so if there's a prefix, do the same there, do the same there. Things that make me go, I really don't understand. It should show up. It's only affecting conditions. It's not affecting items. It's not affecting spells. Let's try the old quit and reload method. This is one of my favorite methods of bug fixing. We were on such a roll too, weren't we? First person RPG. It was very creative with my project name. First person RPG. Thanks for the likes and subscribes. All right. Nope, that didn't work. WTF. We all saw that worked earlier. And it's not already listed here. If I add a new game modules, items, again call it test, and create an item test, add that. Oh yeah, this is where we assign the RPG data. It's interesting though, once it's assigned, you can't change it, so that's something. But it's assigned for the whole object. And we need the one that's not that one. We need this one. Base values, and there they all are. So, instant. I'm just trying to recreate what we did. We did add a base. Where is it? Base. We did 3 and oops, 3. We did 1. So they're there. They're still there. They haven't gone away. And then we went and checked out the star skill, right? Because I was explaining things. And we were looking at the base hit points. And explain about points versus base value. We maybe looked at the dictionary. We did a couple other things on the other one. Then we went back to the items and oh look, it's still there. Oh man, I do not know what the heck is going on. Alright, I'm gonna add a debug log. I was thinking I should do this earlier, but I didn't. So I think it's breaking on this section right here. So we're going to put a debug log here, Does item.name, item.full name, or item.object name, I guess, affect ss.name. And then we'll see. So we're going. This is going to spit out a ton of stuff probably. But it should just be one line or whatnot. Okay. Okay, so we're now going to look for somewhere in here. Yeah, let me select this. Okay. Somewhere in this list should be base hit points. And if it's not in this list, then that's a different issue. Is it repeating? That collapsed. Why is it not? Okay. I don't know why this didn't collapse with the other one. Because of this. $5.98. $5.93. Oh, and it's doing per level, etc., etc., etc. All right, well, what's clear, though, is I don't see base hit points in this list at all. If we go into items, then we should see it, is my guess. Yep. All right, so it's clearly breaking before this point. All right, debug.log stat skill equals ss.name. So maybe it's breaking here. Let's find out. All right, conditions. All right, do we see it in this list before we see repeats? I do not see it in this list by see repeats. Okay, so it's not there. Let me just confirm it is here. And yeah, there's a lot more here. Base. Okay, so it's not there. So it's not in this at all. I wonder if somehow RPG itself got changed. So that could be the real issue. If it's using the wrong scriptable object, it's using the demo one instead. So somewhere RPG data. Yup, that's it. It's using the demo one instead. Somehow that got changed. Huh. So good thing it wasn't with the code. Weird thing, I don't know how it got changed. I have no idea. Oh. All right, so people, folks, I try not to say ladies and gentlemen anymore. Don't always succeed, but not here, not here. This is not where I was setting the details. And that's why I never noticed that it was the wrong RPGF, or yeah, the wrong scriptable object, because I don't set the details here. I set the details on the spells. So all of that was because I forgot that the details were set here. Well, I think I lost 6 watchers in that time. So clearly that was boring. And all I learned is that I confused myself. So let's get back to it. Spell data is where we have this information. So if the player condition is instant, then we're going to pull the spell data and compute that and do it to the base value. Gosh darn it. All right, set values, we can copy paste some stuff. Let me just copy paste this. Do we need, let's see. Player condition. So for each stat or skill, in this case base, we're going to be doing points. Add player condition. Let's see. Oh. So okay. So we can just call set values then. Oops. Set values. Do we have to do duration before values? I don't think so. Okay, so we will do set values first. And then if this is an instant type, then we go down a different path. But we set the values first. So we don't need to set the values. Those are already set. And then we just need to add those to the target, right? And it's going to be not to the active player. It's going to be the player selected. I'm thinking in my head. What I'm thinking is this might be boilerplate in the sense of we're not always going to be adding the condition to the player, active player. We need to know who we're casting it on. Sometimes it's the active player, but in this case it's the player we clicked on. So what we need is player, target player, and then keep that public for now. This is a test after all. Target player, and then I mean for this purpose we'll just say equals game.activePlayer. But active player, really it's going to be target player for the rest of these. Okay. So now we've added the values. So we're going to have to do something similar to this, I guess. This is basically cloning the stat or skills to the condition. Which is probably a step that we don't need to take for these, but I'm going to keep it there anyways. So now if we go through, oh yeah, I guess we really don't need to do it. We're not multiplying anything, although technically I will need to multiply by the proficiency of the caster and do that math, which I'm going to do debug.log to do modify by proficiency and all that. Proficiency is an algorithm. It takes into account the player's luck and whether they're lucky or not and whatnot. So I'll have to do that. But I think I don't need to set the values up here. Instead, if we're doing instant, we don't set the values at all, but rather we go to the target player dot points so get points, set points. Do I have a set points? I don't have a set points. Get points ss.name plus spell data.values base. So in this one, the values base is base hit points. So get the points for base hit points, because we're going through this list of SAR skills. And then add to it spell data values base dot points dot base wait, what is values points? Int test equals, is that right? No. Get points is in returns a float. Base list stat or skill. Oh. Wait a minute. I'm confused. Okay. So for each one of these, so we're saying target player, get the points of this name and add to it ss.value, base value, which is this. Yeah. So int total value, and actually give me a float, not int. So total value equals that. All right, and then we're going to do a similar thing up here. Wait, but we need to compute per skill point. Where do we do that in the others? Oh, we don't compute it in the others. We only do duration because usually the stat or skill system itself handles the computation of the skill points and all that, which is why we pass in the skill points and level of the caster and the mastery. So we need to do that ourselves for this purpose. So we have skill points and level up here. So where were we? So total value is going to be plus equals value. No. Oh yeah, so values per skill point is now this is the base. Okay. I'm going to save this bit down here. I'm getting confused a little bit, and so that's never a good sign, right? But I think I got it. So total value is just going to start in 0f. And then that's never used. That's what it's on. So I don't need to say that. All right, total value starts out with the base value. And we'll just say total value plus base value, just to okay, now I need to set that. Okay, and then here total value is going to be that plus yeah, so equals total value plus the base per skill point times skill points. And then similarly, base value plus level. And then the final amount for the player will be target player. Player could be, by the way, an NPC or an enemy. Get points. Where's SS name? Spell data. Oh, interesting. I guess I could do this multiple times where I add it, then add this, then add this. It's the same as adding these together, then adding them once, right? Essentially. So let's see. It's really going to be target player dot get stat or skill ss.name dot points plus equals this. So really, we're doing this now. And not doing this at all. We don't need total value, because for each step we're just going to add 2 points, the base value. Add base value for this per skill point times skill points. Add that. And that's going to be for each thing listed here. Is that right? Let's just check. Get stat or skill. This is on the player itself. So we're going through the stat or skills. And we're getting the stat or skill. Okay. Okay. I think that's it. So that should be an instant action, and then we return true, and we do none of this. So it doesn't even get added. It just poof goes away. And that means that we can then move all of these to another method. Where do we move this to? Because this is a test. These things will have to be passed in. This will not be included, at least not as is. The rest should work as is. It was working a couple weeks ago when I was using those test buttons. And so, where would I put this? Would I put it on actions? Let's see. Let's just make sure there's no errors, and we'll go through the flow of casting again. Figure out where the best place to put that is. That's part of the reason why I didn't I had made these test buttons a few weeks ago, but I don't like the idea of building a test script, because I always get confused about where to add it later. And there was just so much missing from all that. It was okay. It's okay, but it wasn't my favorite way of doing it, I guess. All right, let me press play. All right, then we go to inventory, learn the spells. Oops. Oh. Bug. Whoa. What? Object type audio clip has been destroyed. What? I think I just... Is this a rabbit hole again? So it's supposed to speak, this will come in handy. This will come in handy.
This will come in handy.
Okay.
This will come in handy.
This will come in handy.
This will come in handy. This will come in handy.
I think it's that one. why would it be saying it was destroyed? That's so weird. Are none of the voices working now? All right. This is makes no sense. But let's see. What did I break? What did I break recently? What was I doing here? Nope, that was yesterday. That's all good. All right, player speak. All right, let's just go backwards here. So it's saying that the object is destroyed. The audio clip object. So get audio clip. So if motion name is this, then we will get audio clip. Otherwise, we will get the emotion and then get an audio clip. Get audio clip. Weird. Okay, so this is where it's trying to get the audio clip. So let's do debug.log getting audio clip line name motion name and index, and then debug.log line object line dot line. Okay, let's just see if those trigger. Okay, so this will come in handy. Line object. So I found the line object. This will come in handy. And that is going to be on the character. So let's see how many audio clips we have. Clips equals line.audio clip dot count. And this is the one I expect to get. So audio clip, audio clip test clip equals that, and debug.log test clip dot name. All right, so I expect it to fail here now if we're not getting, if something's up with that. Oh, and I shouldn't actually be checking it here. That's a good point. I should be checking it here, right? First, let me stop this. Where? Because I keep it on player voices. No, it references that, so never mind. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Ah, okay. So, I think I get it now. So, obviously, the clip is not base human finger index L1. So, what's happening is the references are getting messed up. So, essentially, yes, player voices is correct. It would lead to here, but on my game player voices, it is not. So that's weird. So we were talking in the stream earlier, the game dev show. I mentioned that references that can't be serialized will get messed up. But this shouldn't, because this is simply referencing the scriptable object. Which is just always there. Weird.
I can't learn this spell. This will come in handy.
Is it just a matter of dragging this back here? Oops. Nope.
I can't learn this spell. This will come in handy.
I'm not sure exactly why it's doing this now, because I mean, clearly the references are correct on the scriptable object itself. Down here, game is calling the scriptable object, referencing that with player voices, where the voice, where is voice? Let's see. Voice, player. Player's voice. Oh, that's right. Okay. So it is exactly what I was talking about earlier, I think. So, yes, game itself is referencing that, but the player voice, which each player has their own voice, which can be changed at the beginning of the game, and this is what's being referenced. And type mismatch. There you go. Okay, so I need to basically, when I load, reset this, and I think I made myself a fancy little debug log, because I do love myself some debug logs, where I specify where that is being done, because I knew I would have to add more things. Even in the live stream today, I said, oh, it always shocks you when that happens. Let's see. Is it set up player? No. Loading player data. Relinking stuff. Alright, confirm data on load. Alright, so we will relink voice. Voices. And so we're gonna have to do this for NPCs and bad guys too. So debug.log to do add NPCs and bad guys, you know, enemies. And for each player, we're going to say player.voice equals game.voice player voices dot get voice player dot voice dot voice. That's it. Basically get the player, this is the name, so female 6 in this case, and so get that voice and assign it back to that. All right. And I'm surprised this didn't come up earlier. Something must have happened to the asset database to shift around things. Oftentimes that's why that bug is so confusing, because it doesn't happen right away. It happens after Unity reshuffles random IDs in the back end. And so it's like suddenly you'll be like, wait, this was working. Now I came back. Oh, it's probably because I reloaded Unity. Because I quit and reloaded. That's probably why. And yeah. So it doesn't always happen right away, and that can be very confusing. Alright, try again. Got that bug where the camera doesn't stop moving.
This will come in handy.
Okay.
This will come in handy.
Get back to where we were, healing touch. And okay, here are a few things. Okay. Cast on this player. So this is on actions. So the question we faced, and before I forget, I'm going to remove all these debugs. The question we were facing, we have this test cast spell with a lot of methods that work well. And then we have here the actual place where this should take place. So, should this be its standalone script, I guess? Where we just pass the data along? Let me think. While I'm thinking, don't forget to like and subscribe and blah, 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 all that stuff. So I don't want to add it to here, to actions, because this will just make actions bigger. And there's a lot of zombie code here already. And so I'm going to be adding more stuff for shooting and other actions. And it's not really, this is stuff to go with the actions, but it's not the action itself. So I suppose this is better as its own standalone class. And we could call it, I mean, like I say here, it's really a give condition. So we could say condition giver or give condition. And then it's not really cast spell. But what we need is to pass these things in to here. So this is going to be start giving condition, or can I do condition? Can I do give? No, I can't. Cancel. So see, I want this to be give condition actually. And so what would the class be called? I'm waiting for the video to catch up. It's a good, I don't know, 20 seconds behind, 25, 30 seconds behind. I think I will call it I will call this give. Okay. And we're going to pass in string mastery and float skill points, float level, and player target player, and string spell name. So those are the things we need to pass in. Don't need those then. And if we pass those in, then it should work. And we don't need that. And I'm just going to delete that. And So we're going to have to pass target player to all of these. Or guess we could update them here. No, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make sense, I don't think, right? Because if we treat this like actions, then it's essentially going to have its own static for itself. So let's try that. So it's we give condition, and it's going to be give condition. And it needs to be this awake method. And it's going to be give condition. So I don't. I guess I could update it right here and then just keep these placeholders there. Make them all private. Let's try that. So we'll then add everything here. So I'm just going to add new to the end of all these. All right. And then we go through the motions. So now when we do our cast on this player, mental note. Oh man. Mental note, I'm also going to need to do this for the magic points to reduce the magic points of the caster. So heads up, I'll have to do that too. Mental note to myself. So it's actions, and we're going to add the static up here using static infinity pbr.legend of the stones dot give condition. Where was that? Spell on deck conditions. So this is where we'll put it, right? Okay. So this is where we cast. So give condition, give, and spell on deck, mastery. So spell on deck is always going to be by the active player. So just you need to get the mastery from the active player. And we got that earlier from... So game.activePlayer.last magic book selected is the skill. So game.activePlayer.getStat or skill by that.mastery, right? String mastery equals that. So spell name, mastery, you need the skill points, level, and target player. Okay. And we're going to do this. Stat or skill SS equals that. And then we'll do stat or skill mastery. We can change this to ss.mastery. Then ss.points. This is going to be game.activePlayer.level or get level. Oh, that's another stat or skill. So level equals get level dot final value, final stat, final value. Then target player is who do we know who we clicked on? Didn't we have a debug where we figured out who we clicked on? I thought we did. Let's try again.
This will come in handy.
Where'd the other buttons go?
This will come in handy.
Oh, was I doing that in the wrong area? All right, wait a minute. This is in actions, yeah, can this? Cast this on player. Okay. Cast this on the player. Give condition. All right, so spell on deck. So it's not going to be spell on deck, that's a boolean, but the last spell selected, and then spellbook mastery, then the points in that and their level. Okay. Then target player is game.players data.player new player. Okay. Let's see if it works. Thanks, William. I might not be here. It's been a couple hours and it's 2:20 in the afternoon. It's been a cool few days, but I think, hey, how come my laptop's almost out of batteries? That's weird. It's plugged in, but it's also at 6% battery. So apparently streaming eats up more battery than my laptop can charge. So if it cuts out, it's without me saying bye. It's because the laptop ran out of battery, even though it's plugged in, and says the power source is the power adapter. Battery is not charging. Wow. All right. Well, apparently streaming's a big deal. I wonder, should I don't know what I can do there. Anyways, oh, look at all these null references. All right. Let's see if this works. So first thing I want to do is see if I can actually reduce a player's hit points. So we're going to look at player stat or skills, base hit points, currently they are at points. Where's points? 0. Well, that's not right. Oh, maybe it's not base points. It's hit points. Oops. Alright, see the bar went down? Alright, it's hit points, not base hit points, which means I need to redo the spell hit points. Oh. Hit points is not modifiable. So I need to set those to be modifiable. Right? Hit points can be modified, and magic points can be modified. Okay. And go back to the spells, And now it should show up in the list somewhere. Hit points. Aha. Hit points. Aha. Oops, not that one. So 1, 3. We don't want to change space hit points. That's for the character creation. Alright. That should do the trick. Now, let's set our players' hit points down low. So I'll just set this to 40. And we'll watch it change.
This will come in handy.
Learn
This
that.
will come in handy.
Match its spells. Okay, we should see it go up, and we should see it go up. It didn't go up. Let's see, did it give at the condition? Nope. Alright, so oh. Try instant action. Where do I try instant action? Add condition. Where do I do add condition? Right here. So debug.log, no condition with greater time or value. That should be false because there is no conditions on the player. And then we should do add condition. Didn't even happen. So something's going on here. Debug.log, checking if we have a condition of greater value. And we'll just make sure we're passing this dot object name. Yes, they're just buttons. All these buttons in my UI, these are just buttons. They just toggle a Boolean true or false, I think. All right.
This will come in handy.
Okay, so the one on the right is
This
the one
will
I
come in
always-
handy.
No. Okay, healing touch. Checking, no condition with greater value. Oh, all right, so it returned false. And if it returns false, then it should do add condition. Ah, condition name is null or empty. I see. Okay, so there's no condition because we're not adding one. So can I move this up? Let's see. Spell data, player condition. Wait. Oh. Yeah. That's my bad. So yeah. Okay. My bad. So I do need to have a condition name because I've created a condition called healing. And you know, this is the one that's it's type instant. And so now in my spells for healing touch, I'm just going to add dictionary, go to dictionary and condition name healing. Okay. So it's a healing spell, so it's going to do the healing condition, which is instant. All right, that should work then.
This will come in handy.
Yeah. It will. Okay. Okay. Now let me redo this where I take away her health. Could just make a button to take away health, but not. Okay, now let's cast again. Oh, all right, it's still on deck. Okay. Test keys. I have a test keys option here, so if shift held down and control held. Okay, if shift held down and input.get key down, key code alpha 1, then game.activePlayer stat or skills.get activePlayer.get stat or skill hit points dot points minus equal 10. Alright, so if I hold shift and press 1, I should lose 10 hit points from now on. I think you mentioned the inner scroller on another day, Jason. And I looked into it once and I didn't get it working, so I abandoned it, as I do. I'm not sure if I'd like it better or not, personally. Alright, so I can lose. It also opens up the menu because I'm pressing 1, but that's okay. Okay, let's see. Come on. Come on, big money.
This will come in handy.
Didn't work. Why didn't it work? Are we calling it? Are we just not calling it? I mean, that could be it. Well, I'm not supposed to go here, actually. Cast this. When do we do cast spell on deck on player? If cast spell on deck on player, new player. If there's no spell on deck, we don't do anything. Otherwise, return true. Did we do any of this? I don't know. I need to retry it again. Man. Oh, there's a cute squirrel out the window. That's nice. 3 inventory.
This will come in handy.
All right. This is where it should happen. Casting it at level novice. Spell data. Full name. Target player. No condition of greater value. Condition to add is healing. To do, modified by proficiency and all that. And no more tests. So, debug.log. What we'll do is starting points. And ending points. So we should see that for the values base. Okay.
This will come in handy.
Okay, there's one value base. All right, it says it's ended 58, 55 to 58. Can we confirm that? Is that accurate? Points 50. So I don't think so. Weird. Okay. So why was it? Let's make sure we're getting the right player too. Target player. Oh. This was commented out earlier, or deleted. Didn't I even say zombie code? Maybe I did too many undos or something. That might explain it. So, hurt our player, get our inventory, learn
This
our
will
spell.
come in handy.
It will come in handy. Put it on deck. Cast it on our player. Ah, hit points went up. Perfect. And this is where we'd also do all the pizzazz sound effects and particle effects and all the good stuff. And this is also where we need to decrease the magic points. So cast this on the player. We need to reduce magic points for caster. And we need to say spell on deck equals false. And we need to say cursors dot reset. But do we not have cursors here? We do. Oh, probably just a lowercase c. Yep, okay. So reducing the magic points for the caster, the cost I'm still here. Chinese food. All right. The cost is listed in spells on cost right here. So it's really just a matter of reducing the points on magic. We're gonna have to at some point check to make sure that we have enough magic points to cast it too. That's something I haven't accounted for yet. All right, who is the caster? Is the active player. So active player game.activePlayer. Why is that? I don't know what's going on. Okay, game.activePlayer get star skill magic points dot points minus equal where's the spell? Item spell dot dictionary dot get value int cost. That should do the trick there. And while we're at it, we will say I blanked all of a sudden. We're going to the casting area itself, and that's going to be where is that? Where does that live? Magic menu. It's not in there. It's not there. Main menu. Menus. Magic menu. Spell on deck. Nope. On deck. Nope. All right. All right, let's just figure out the old-fashioned way. I had Indian food, sort of. I just mixed spinach, leftover cauliflower that was already cooked, some leftover cooked chicken, sliced grape tomatoes, cut in half with scissors, added some vindaloo sauce from Bucket from Costco, mixed it, microwaved it, mixed it, microwaved it, mixed it, microwaved it 3 minutes straight, and it's yummy. But I forgot to add a ton of black pepper, which is usually what I do. All right. Also, it's insanely healthy for the amount of food. Most of that stuff has very few calories in it. What was I doing? Oh yes, I was going to the inventory of this player.
This will come in handy.
And gonna hurt our player. And then, oops. Alright, well, let's test this part first. Aha, magic points went down. That's good. And go back here. This is what I want. That. Left, got clicked, healing touch. If select this spell, if we were able to select it, do nothing, but that means it wasn't selected before. If we can cast it as an instant spell, then great. Put the spell on deck. Both of these require magic points, so check for magic points available. So if has magic points available, return. So if we don't have, I guess it makes more sense is if not enough magic points, then return, and not enough magic points is going to say, let's see. Yeah, okay. Active player stat or skill or get stat or skills, magic points, dot points. So we're going to need if that is, how about this? Int magic points equals that. So a couple things. If magic points less than or equal to 0, then return true because we don't have enough. And then if magic points is less than let's see, how do we get, where's our spell? Spell. Spell item. Okay, that's probably it. Is spell item dot dictionary dot get value. It was a int cost. Return true. All right, so if it's less than the cost, it will return true. And what is this? Oh. All right. Actually, I guess I'm rather cast int for that. Okay. And this is, we're going to do a couple things here. We're also going to speak. So game.activePlayer.speak not enough magic points. Now, we don't have this yet, so it might throw an error. but I'll add that later. For those of you who don't know, I've been using Replica Studios for the voices. So, oh, what's the shortcut for making Unity play again? Was it Command P? I did forget, Jason. Let's see. All right. It is Command P. Okay. Hungry for life. All right. Let's hurt ourselves. Whoops, wrong button. Hurt ourselves, and then give ourselves the spell.
This will come in handy.
Cast it. And cast it. Oh, that didn't go up, did it? Oh, interesting. Why is it not going up now? Oh. Let's see. Are we adding the condition for some reason? It shouldn't add the condition to our player. But it does. Wait a minute. Why to add the condition? It shouldn't actually go through that if it's give condition, add condition. If we're try instant action. Oh. So this is where it adds. Are we returning the wrong thing here? If we can do an instant action. So if we, oh. Yep. So we had the opposite there. Okay. Let's try that. You can click the play button right or start Unity. I just naturally use my mouse. That's probably why I'm so used to it. I mean, how many thousands and thousands of times have I used the mouse to press play and stop? So if I press play in Unity here, interesting. Okay. Learn something new. Hurt myself. Inventory. Learn the skill.
This will come in handy.
Cast it. Cast it. Aha. Cast it. Cast it. Almost out of magic points. Aha, that's it. It's giving an error because I don't have the sound. This is something that I could probably fail gracefully, I would imagine. Just saying, checking it, and if it's null, then don't do anything and throw in warning or something. But for now, I'm going to keep that because I want to make sure I don't mess something up. So that's that. That's pretty cool. So now I have the ability to cast a spell that doesn't give a condition, but does an instant thing. So any spell that harms a player could also now use that with negative hit points or other things. Technically, only things that affect hit points or magic points would make sense because it changes the base. Oh yeah, except for potions, like permanent potions. If you drink a permanent potion to increase your might by 1, then that system would increase your might by 1 with a condition, an instant condition called might increase, or something like that. Yeah. Neat. All right, well, that's going to be it for now. We've got almost 3 hours in, and it's gotten warmer outside. As I said earlier, it's been a couple of colder days, but now it's a balmy 79, which is cool for this area this time of year, actually. That's Fahrenheit. I have no idea what it is Celsius, in likely the better measurement. It's also smoky, with a moderate air quality. And it's pretty humid. So I'm going to go outside for a bit and then come back and code later. I don't think I'll be live streaming later, but you never know. Maybe I'll feel like it and do it. And if I do, then I will post it on the Discord. So if you haven't joined the Discord, do so now, because there's a lot of cool stuff and cool people. And somebody posted this. What is this? Let's watch it on YouTube. Full screen. Are those my village? Is that my village? Ooh, creepy. Vicious. That's not my castle. Nor my human. I don't have those. Oh. Maybe some of the bad guys will. Huh. Well, I'm looking for my own stuff, and I'm wondering if these are mine. Let me see. Though, yeah, that looks like my village. I think these are these buildings, and that maybe too. No, not the well. But maybe these buildings. Hard to tell with this lighting. Neat. Karth, epic new game coming to Steam in 2022. Neat, Buffalo. I give you 100%. Alright, thanks everyone. Wait, let's see. Subtract 32 and divide by 1.8 to get Celsius. Yeah, that's easy. So 79 divided, or is minus 32 would be 47. Divided by 1.8 is something about 24 plus another 4 or another 8, right? Or minus another 8, something like that. Yeah. Animate avatars on the menu screen. You mean in my game? If I'm hearing you correctly, are we talking about... So these ones are animated down here. You can see them kind of moving. And then when we... I'll just go like this. If I load one up and you see the inventory, they're animated as well here. So it's just a camera in front of them. They're hidden to all cameras except for this camera and this camera. But they're actually at the player point. So thanks, Brian. You too. All right, I'm going to call it here. Thanks, everybody. Like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your children, grandchildren, or not. Have a great day.